Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event with your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
the Guru, back again from T-Mobile Arena, UFC 303. We've got Alex Potam Pereira defending his light heavyweight belt against Jiri Prochazka. And in your co-main event, you've got Brian T-City Ortega fighting Diego Lopes in an absolute banger of a fight. I mean, it's rare that you lose a Conor McGregor fight. And, you know, us, the not casuals, the real fans out here, we know that these are some damn good fights. But before we can get into this awesome card, very closely lined, we've got a very, very special guest in the building making his Chronic Combat debut. He's up over 340 units on BetMMA. So make sure you go check him out over there on JMac MCC 516 over on BetMMA. Check him out on Dub Club if you want his picks. Mick Picks MMA. What's up, brother?
Doing good, guys. Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. My first time on. UFC 303, awesome event. Like you said, a lot of switch ups. I think you got an upgrade on some of these switch ups. I'm looking forward really to the co-main event. Diego Lopes, Brian Ortega. What an awesome matchup. So yeah, let's get into it.
Sick fight. That fight's giving me agita all week.
Yeah, a lot of these fights are, honestly, because the great part about great events like this is that you have two legitimate fighters with solid experience that have ways to win the fight. And sometimes on some of these lower level cards, you can't really say as much. So it really makes fun, the tape process, breaking down. Like, who doesn't love watching fucking MVP tape? I mean, get out of here if you don't. Like, you're obviously not meant for the show. But before we get started here, make sure you guys are doing the right thing. If you're watching this show on the replay, leave a comment in the chat, like the show, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you're here live, what are you guys waiting for? Let us know your best bet in the comment section.
What are we waiting
for? Bring it up live. Uh-oh.
What are we waiting for? All right.
What are you waiting for? There you go. Get after it, Guru. If you got something to drink it. If you're smoking,
hey, I thought I was the only one. Come on.
Let's go.
Come on, boys. Let's
get it,
cheers. Cheers.
I love it. So make sure you guys are doing the right thing out there. All the support from the community means the world to us. And like Guru said, if you guys aren't following Mick Picks already, geez, you guys got a problem. So Lou Betcha, shout out to you. What's going on? One of the best guests of the show history. Had an amazing week with us last week. Nice. He's definitely got, not as good of a drinker yet. Lou definitely held his own last week. So
Lou, let's go pitcher for pitcher and bowling, all right? A pitcher Miller, bowling. I guarantee you're wrecked. It's over, pal.
Damn, Guru's really about the bowling life. But what I'm really about here is this UFC 303 short notice main event. I mean, does it get cooler than this? We got Poatan, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Bushido Prochazka. I mean, what an absolute banger of a matchup. The fact that these two guys were going to be booked on 305 and we're just like, yeah, fuck it. Put us on 303. Why not? Cut 2 months off the training camp. Get right into it. I mean, I can't wait. And when you go back and throw on the tape for this first fight, I know Pereira wins by a nice little TKO stoppage there, but I mean, Jiri wins the first round. It's a great back and forth fight. I think there was definitely a lot to take away from both sides in that matchup. And the calf kicks of Alex are devastating. Jiri has proven time and time again, even again in his latest fight against Rakic, he still haven't necessarily solved that problem. But I mean, he's a tough guy. He's in great shape. Seems to be ever improving since coming back from the post-shoulder surgery. I mean, that was the big story last time in the matchup against Pereira was Jiri 100% returning from that massive, supposedly gigantic shoulder surgery that he had. And he was coming off a long layoff. Now, this time, he's got a couple more fights under his belt. In that Pereira fight, I mean, I think he finally kind of realized if you keep Pereira on the back foot with pressure, get him up against the cage, that's going to be your best shot. It's just, after he has success with a couple of those blitzes, he gets a little bit sloppy with his defense on the way in. And that check left hook from Pereira, man, I mean, that thing still checks out. So I think Jiri comes in a little bit more careful, in a little bit better shape and more octagon experience. And as much as I want to stay on the Lex train, something's telling me that we're going to be looking at a potential trilogy coming up here. And I think I got to take Jiri in this matchup. And I think, man, just something telling me to do it. I think both these guys are incredible. I love both of them as fighters, but man, I would love to see this matchup for a third time. So I think ultimately Jiri's going to do a better job of not necessarily checking calf kicks, but doing a better job to make sure that they don't happen by keeping his pressure up and staying more defensively sound this time in the pocket. His head movement was great until it wasn't. So let's see what Jiri's got here. But at plus money, I think I'm willing to take the shot here. So what's going on? We do have Herb Dean reffing here. Let's go, Jiri. I think I'm on that time. So, Mr. Meldmano, thanks for joining us again after I was confused about your name last time, but appreciate you. So, Guru, what do you got cooking here in this matchup?
Wow, I'm shocked to hear you go to Jiri. I haven't heard you say that to me all week. I think a lot of people are just on Jiri, sharp and otherwise. Dog money on a guy as dangerous as Jiri and a guy that was kind of winning those minutes in the fight. 295, right? They step up on short notice to fill in for John Jones. They step up on short notice here to fill in for Conor McGregor. We were there live for 295. Incredible fight, incredible atmosphere. Jiri's winning the minutes, right? And until he's basically winning until he gets caught. And he's hurting Alex with the calf kick. It's tough, man. It's tough fight. I think there's a lot of different things. What we know from watching a lot of MMA, right, is that rematches don't happen the same way. And I think that's been proven fairly often, time and time again. It's not a law like gravity, right? But like it happens fairly consistently. And I think this time, this fight takes a little bit longer to develop. I like the fight to start round 3. I think I can get that at Pick'em. And again, the fight was kind of going there to begin with. And Alex caught him with the check left, like you said, TB. So I think it takes a little bit more time. And I honestly, I just kind of want to see these guys fight for a little bit longer. So am I going to be clenching my butt cheeks? Absolutely. But I think that there's some value there. And hey, if you like Jiri, not for nothing, that line has dissipated all week. Like if you like Jiri, you needed him a couple days ago. So
yeah, that's true.
That's just me. Now it's
like your take, though.
To me at minus 130, we're back at like a solid value on. But he's already knocked him out. Like he knocks everybody out. His power is insane. He doesn't need to win the minutes. He puts people to sleep. And if you watch Jiri versus Rakic in that last fight, I mean, he's getting hit all the time. The difference is like Rakic has no power, and TB was so sharp. He said that Rakic doesn't even want to be in a real fight, and like that's basically what it was. He's point fighting. He's like winning a little bit until he actually takes some damage. He's like, yeah, I want none of this. So I don't think Pereira is that kind of guy. But please, Mick Picks, what do you got for us, brother?
I got a question first. Were the chronic combat boys on the dance floor at AC? What's with that comment?
We were on the floor seats for UFC Atlantic City, the ultimate showdown of Blanchfield versus Manon Fiorot.
With no internet to bet.
I thought you guys were repping Jersey and fist pumping on the dance floor, and someone
the fights. That's exactly what we were doing.
I got you.
We were looking to Joaquin Buckley though.
Right.
But I mean, it's an amazing fight. I love that the UFC put this rematch together. But I'm team Jiri on this one. You know, this is a rematch. These two fighters fought not too long ago. Last year in November, Pereira knocked out Jiri in the second round, late second. But like you guys said, prior to that knockout, Jiri was having success with both his striking and he mixed in the wrestling, winning the first round in all 3 judges' scorecards. And I think TB mentioned this, but Jiri was coming back from a major shoulder surgery, and I think he came back probably a little bit too soon. Now he's had some rest. I mean, I thought his physique looked a lot better against Rakic, and I think he looks a lot better now, physique-wise. And I also think that the pressure and the unconventional, fight style of Jiri was kind of starting to get to Pereira in the first round. As I thought Alex was starting to slow down, late second round before he caught Jiri. In regards to like the tail of the tape, not much has changed. Jiri is a younger fighter. He has a slight reach advantage. With all this being said, you got to mention Pereira has that left hook. He can catch Jiri at any point in this fight. You can have the most technical breakdown, and Pereira can catch Jiri at any point in the fight. But Jiri also has some ridiculous power in his own hands, and I think that at some point he's going to crack Pereira and finish him. And going down the narrative route, you guys also mentioned this, but I think the UFC would love to turn this into a trilogy. I mean, 1-1, a super fight, winner takes all in the third fight. Both guys are really marketable. But in the end, Jiri has proved that he can have success not only with his wrestling, but his striking. I'm Team Jiri on this one.
Nice. Yeah. I feel like there's just a lot of pieces to the puzzle here that put Alex at a little bit more of a disadvantage compared to the last matchup. I think it would actually even be interesting to see Alex make a late run in his career at heavyweight too. I'd be kind of down to see that. And ultimately, yeah, I love the pick there, Mr. McPicks. So happy to be on the same side as you in this matchup. And yeah, I feel like it's just what's going to happen. I don't know. Something's telling me. Shout out to all you guys in the chat.
You think he knocks him out late? What are you thinking? Because you think it's early? You think it's in the first two? Because I really think it goes. Fight starts round 3 at -102 is nice.
Killer Brew, appreciate you. Is that Harmon Killer Brew? But I would say basically what I envision here is that Jiri has gotten like a sparring partner that is literally mimicking the mannerisms and movements of Pereira like pretty nicely. I don't think Pereira can necessarily find anybody that's going to give those looks in the gym. And having been in there with Jiri, I think, yeah, he lived through the chaos, but still, it's not something like replicable that you can super train for. Whereas Yuri's like, okay, he's got the calf kick, he's got the check hook, he's got a couple other like kicks that he can bring and some explosive knees, stuff like that. But like, it's a little bit more predictable of a style to be able to train for. So I'm pretty interested. The more I think about it, the more I've been leaning towards the Jiri side during the week here.
Wow. Interesting.
All right. We're moving on. We got T-City, Brian Ortega versus Diego taking back Sunday Lopes. Ultimately here, we're talking about another fight where we got someone on the Ortega side, a bit more experience, maybe a little bit cleaner boxing fundamentals. He's got a little bit of size to him, a guy that's talking about moving up to 155 here. And he's got some wrestling. So you put it all together and on paper, it's like, yeah, well, T-City at plus money. And then, he just constantly is getting hit, getting hurt. He's constantly having surgeries outside the cage. Confusing training methods that he's going through, taping the mouth. Oh, yeah, it's going to help with my cardio and keep me calm. It's like, well, you're not going to have tape on your mouth inside the cage, Brian. I don't know. And then ultimately, I just question, like he talked a little bit about never really having to worry about the grappling on the other side of a fight. And now, like, it's very much a concern. So say this plays out like the Yair fight where he's getting dropped 2 times in the first round. Because, Diego, he's not the most technical striker, but he's explosive. What's up, Terrence? How you doing over there, buddy? Mr. Guru's cat hopping in the stream. This is the good guy. He's a good fella. Not the nasty cat that messes stuff up.
They're all nice.
Everybody knows all about it. Mushroom will tell you about the cat messing up the stream. There you go. But T-City here, ultimately, I feel like there's not really going to be a spot where he could like stay safe. Like Diego's dangerous in every single realm of the fight. And like Ortega, like if he's getting popped on the feet, he'll work to the clinch, more of like a body lock takedown type of guy than like shooting singles and doubles necessarily. And Diego's got some crazy collar tie uppercuts, work to the body. He's also nasty when the fight gets on the mat, and he scrambles in a way that you really have to be elite as a wrestler. And I think Ortega's more like been improving his wrestling, and he's still got that high level jiu-jitsu, but like this could be one of those fights where he doesn't really get to have that advantage. I'm not saying either guy's necessarily going to have the advantage, but I think Ortega is going to be someone that's getting hurt before Diego's getting hurt in this fight. And that's what takes me back to the Diego inside the distance.
Takes you back to Sunday?
Takes me back to Sunday, baby. And takes me back to high school where I had the same haircut as Diego Lopes.
You did not have that haircut. You should see his fight on the regional scene. That's probably more the haircut you have. You did not have the fucking shaved head mullet.
No.
You mean just this part, which he was rocking in the And the fight I was watching on Fight Pass, it was literally hilarious. I'm like, oh, that's literally Justin Bieber. That's TV right there.
Yeah, that was me. But Guru, what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, God, I mean, I was talking about the narrative aspect with this TV, just before we went live. I mean, Diego Lopes, he was Pick'em versus Pat Sabatini. He's Pick'em versus Gavin Tucker. He's Pick'em versus Sadiq Youssef in his last fight, and now he's favored to get, like, it's so crazy, what's been happening with him, and how good his run has been here. I mean, he wins this fight. He's going to fight the winner of Holloway and what's his face, and the champ Topuria. No, oh, he's going to fight. I mean, like, he's right there now if he can win this fight. I mean, this is crazy. And Brian Ortega taking this matchup on short notice to fight for his spot when he was apparently training for had accepted a fight at lightweight, and he's saying that regardless of what happens in this fight, he's going to move up to lightweight. I'm so confused by that. I mean, it's just so strange. And then to take this fight on short notice is so strange. It's a really, really tough matchup for Brian. Why I picked Brian versus Yair was watching Yair be a loser off his back versus Frankie Edgar and in plenty of other fights. I mean, I knew that if Brian Ortega could get to some grappling, he would have success. And he went through a fucking beating to get there. But, you know, you're watching in that second round, he snatches up a single. He's just holding it. He's hopping there trying to get it. Diego, you can't do this versus Diego. It's just not going to work. I honestly think the fight plays at distance. I think they both don't decide to grapple with each other. Diego seems like the kind of respectful guy that wouldn't even try unless he needs to, right? He catches him off guard, tries to just kind of banana real quick and take the back. But yeah, Diego's just so much more explosive here, and we've yet to see him in trouble in the UFC. I mean, I've been struggling to find tape on him where he looks that bad. Just, you know, kind of Joe Anderson Brito kind of laying on top of him. That's Ortega's path, man. He's got to win a decision. He's got to lay on top. So for me, I mean, if you like Brian Ortega, I know it's not a sexy play, but I think you take Brian Ortega decision only at -150. Otherwise, you take Diego Lopes inside the distance. I think he just seems to have it. I mean, this dude is on track to do something incredible. But that's my breakdown. I mean, I think he's special, but the line has to be, I don't know. The line is just crazy to me at the end of the day.
I don't know. Mr. Mendoza doesn't agree with you. That's interesting. I don't know. I'd be interested to see, like, it's just a feeling. All right.
It'd be really
Mr.
interesting to
McPicks.
see Lopez win a decision.
I agree. But let's see here. Mr. McPicks, what are you doing in this fight?
Yeah, make it 3 because I'm picking Diego Lopes as well. But like I said, it's my favorite fight on the card. I'm just done. I'm done fading this dude. You know, like I'm like tempted to fade him again a little bit, you know, but just keep telling myself, just don't do it. Because I think he's the real deal. He's huge for the division. And it seems like his physique is just like getting better each time too. The dude is like 5'11", but like he's big. Like he's not like he's like skin and bone. This dude is jacked up. Yeah. And he's improving each time out. He has solid cardio. He's dangerous wherever the fight takes place. He proved that his last couple fights. Obviously, his jiu-jitsu is sick, but he's striking. He's knocking dudes out now. He's durable, and he's running right now all-time high in confidence. And you have Brian Ortega has fought the best of the best at 145, right? He's also extremely durable. Really, really tough to finish this guy. You either have to the ref either has to step in, the doctor's got to step in, or you got to he's got a dislocated shoulder, which credit to Yair for that, by the way. You know, everyone's saying, oh, that was a fluke. Yair had him in an armbar, a tight armbar, and Brian tried pulling out, and his shoulder popped out. It dislocated. But that was caused by Yair, right? It wasn't just like a freak injury.
Yeah.
But like you guys said, I didn't like the interview that Ortega gave. You know, he was saying how there's not much for him at 145 anymore. He was planning on moving up in weight. I don't like hearing that. But personally, from betting wise, I'm gonna sit back and watch this fight. But I'm hoping that these guys don't just strike. I'm hoping that they tangle up with each other at some point. I want to see who's the better grappler. But I'm picking Lopez. mentality,
Yeah.
size, power, and I think that the strength that he has gets him the W here.
Can I tell you, I spent so much time just like watching tape, and I kind of forgot to like look over the measurables here somehow. I didn't realize Diego was the 3-inch taller with 3-inch reach in this matchup. Holy
Yeah, he's
God.
fucking
Big dude,
huge.
man.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Big
I think Ortega is going to be, maybe slightly more wide, but damn, I don't know why I didn't really factor that in. That's a mess up on my part. Great call there, Mr. McPicks. All right.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, I know it's
Yeah.
kind of a little. I know it's not exactly kind of what I was saying before, but after really thinking about it, there definitely has to be some level of value on fight going the distance at plus 144 with the durability of both guys.
It'll be a sweat though.
Yeah,
like
100%.
each guy's gonna get, especially if they grapple, like they're gonna be caught up in some crazy positions, and you're gonna be like he's clenching your butthole a little bit,
Yeah.
But,
I just think it's Diego Lopez at the end of the day. I think you guys are right.
Yep.
The money line is just perfectly fine.
Fair enough. Killebrew is not Harmon Killebrew, so we're going to have to keep on seeing which Killebrew he is, not the former twin player. Yeah, Lopez time at 145. Let's go, Meldmano. I like that. Ortega moving up to 155 after. Definitely seems to be making a big deal. Seems like he's not focused on this matchup in the division. It marks up easy and often, always getting damaged and getting hurt, even if he's surviving through it. Speaking of another guy that gets damaged, gets hurt, survives through it for sometimes, it's Anthony Lionheart-Smith versus Roman the Caucasian Dolidze. Why did the UFC make him get rid of the Caucasian as his official nickname? He's from the Caucasus region. It's totally legit. I promise, guys.
I like how you kept it, though.
Yeah, listen, I'm a man of principle. I'm a man of principle,
I don't know about that. What kind of principle do you have?
Not really many, but if you're not going to have a UFC given nickname, I'm going to see what your Tapology one is. I'm going to see what you got on like your, in your history. And if not, you're getting a shitty TV.
Yo,
nickname.
You ignore Tapology nicknames all the time. I don't know why you're sitting here lying to the people. Like you're just bold-faced lying.
Yeah.
You'll literally write something half-cocked and ridiculous instead of using a halfway decent Tapology name.
Taking Back Sunday was a solid one. And how about Bushido? Wasn't that a good one?
First off, Bushido is his nick. Oh no, so Bushido's the one you came up with that I actually really liked. Yeah, and Taking Back Sunday, I gave you no shit for because
it's actually kind of funny. This one, and it's still no TB nicknames yet. So Anthony Lionheart-Smith here. I mean, I'm like, oh wow, like Roman, he's the younger guy, but Roman's the older guy. What's happening over here? Like, once again, I feel like something's being overlooked in this general matchup. I mean, he's bouncing back up from 185 to 205. It's short notice for both guys, but I don't know. Like, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking like Roman by takedown, Roman top control, like Anthony Smith, he doesn't do anything to stop, takedowns. And then I'm like, wait, I'm trusting Roman Dolidze at chalk to have IQ. Like, damn, I don't know if I could do that.
To win a fight up a weight class.
Well, but he fought at this weight class previously, before the UFC, first 2 fights in the UFC. But at the same time, it's like John Alana, Khadij Sibragimov. Oh, Lord. So, I mean, Anthony Lionheart-Smith here, he's going to be the better striker from a technical perspective. I don't know. Something tells me something fishy is going to happen, and that Anthony Smith could be of some interest. But I don't know. Something's telling me to pass on this one. Over 2.5 at -120. Super interested. I don't think you're finishing Dolidze, and Dolidze kind of underwhelming in the finishing department overall, honestly. He pulled off a couple like freak finishes, like fracturing Dawkins' face with the knee, getting the crazy calf slicer TKO over Hermanson, but Smith is going to be a bit tougher, and Dolidze is very much of a one-punch type of guy. So I don't think he's knocking him out from distance. And cage pushing, I mean, he could lose some of the Muay Thai exchanges here. He was getting turned out by Imavov in a lot of exchanges. So, damn, as much as I was kind of entering the week being like, Dolidze is probably an easy pick here, like, could one unit potentially end up on Anthony Smith? I just kind of missed a little bit of the line here.
It's kind of the same thing as with Jiri on some level. Like, the line has just, if you liked Anthony Smith, I mean, there were chances.
Yeah, that's still plus money. So
yeah, it was plus 170, plus 145, plus 135. Plus money is plus money. I get it. And that's I just kind of feel like this is more of like a live bet opportunity to just kind of see how exactly and where exactly they want this fight to play out. Because if there is a lot of clinching, like, I don't know, Anthony Smith is not super weak or anything like that either. He's the bigger guy here. So I don't know. I do lean Anthony Smith just because I just feel like he's, and that's a crazy thing to think about because it's Anthony fucking Smith, but he's like kind of the more functional fighter, right? Like, what is Roman Dolidze's? Like, he got so, like, when we think about his run, right? Like, he knocks out Kyle Dawkins crazy with the knee in the clinch. He tears Phil Hawes's knee up and then knocks out the chinniest guy on planet Earth. And he catches Jack Hermanson in like a leg lock type scenario and just ground and pounds him. Like, they're just rare victories. Whereas, you know, you look at Anthony Smith and, okay, you're getting ground and pounded by Magomed Ankalaev. Like, the Johnny Walker decision is like the bad look, right? Because you're not hurting this guy. But there's a lot more power, I think, coming back too. I just like the overs, but the books are onto it. I don't know. There's really not too much on the meat on the bone on this fight, in my opinion. What do you think, McPix? Is this something you want high exposure on?
No, definitely not. I mean, I don't really know where to go on this one. Kind of like you guys, it's like, yeah, this could happen, but then this could also happen. You know, I think that Smith is the better, more skilled striker, but really just all depends on Dolidze's game plan. Will he wrestle? He wrestled early on in his career, but he's not really going to it lately. And like you guys said, this fight's also at 205. Roman has fought there, but not recently. But at the end of the day, I'll pick Dolidze to win. I think that even if Smith is having more success in the feet, Roman, even though his punches are slow, he can catch him. You know, you got to question the durability of Smith. And I just trust the durability of Dolidze way more. I think he'll have the physicality advantage if they clinch up. And if he does end up going to his wrestling and taking down Smith, then I think he'd look like a clear favorite. But I do, similar to the co-main event, I hope these guys grapple because they're both so good. And I just want to see how it plays out. But I'm going to pick Dolidze to win.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I feel like ultimately I keep coming back to like Dolidze really struggling to get Imavov down in the clinch. And he's using body locks and trip attempts. And like that actually might be enough against Anthony Smith.
I feel like Anthony Smith usually like embraces the takedown because he knows how good he is off his back. But I don't know if you want to do that against a guy like Dolidze.
Yeah, his scrambles are
he's got to know that though, right? Like he's got to know that this is not the fight to do that in, no? Or does he not give a fuck?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen him really like actively look to really stuff takedowns. Like his takedown defense is under 50%.
Yeah, and he's coming off a essentially defensive guillotine win. You know what I mean? Like, so
right.
He's not. I don't think he's gonna like stray away from it. You know,
that's a fair point.
Yeah, fair enough. Damn. So I'm gonna. Yeah, I just feel like Roman by decision plus 250 is pretty good value in that. I don't think he's that damaging in his wrestling. And Anthony Smith by decision at plus 350. If you're like, I just think the fight goes the distance at plus money is probably the way to go.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I lean towards that more and more the more we talk this out. This is why it's a chronic combat conversation. We're not just if we're not feeling 100% confident, I'm happy to listen to some reason here. So, McPicks, what we're gonna do here is I'm not just gonna dump this one on you to go first, but you'll also get the next fight to go first. I hate always taking everything, but as the quick little intro, we got Mayra Chitara Bueno Silva versus Macy the Mauler Chiasson. Guru was not here for that TB nickname, the Mauler. Oh, there he is. What do you think? Ooh, doesn't like it. Okay. So, all right, what do you got here, Mr. McPicks?
Well, no, hang on. Sorry. What you should have called her was the Muncher because.
I mean, man, missed opportunity.
Come on. Although, I mean,
it's way funny. It's way funny.
So, anyways, yeah, but I mean, we're trying to be slightly PC, right?
No, yeah, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful or nothing. I was just trying to be funny.
I mean, but come on. I mean, yeah, I'm just I mean, it's still factual, you know. I mean, she likes that, you know. So, anyways, Mr. McPicks, go ahead.
Yeah.
Guru took us off the rails a little.
I don't mind it either, to be quite honest with you.
A lot to talk about here. I think Macy has a ton of upside. Do you guys watch Game of Thrones, or did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes,
Of
yes.
course.
Every time I see Macy, I think of Brianna Tarth. She's
God damn it, that's great.
enormous.
That's so good.
But yeah, Macy, she's well-rounded. She fought a solid level of competition. Like I said, she's big, but I always question her like mental game and like resolve to win. She makes a lot of mistakes in the mat. She's a good hammer, but she's a bad nail. Did you guys watch her fight against Irene Aldana?
Yep.
She fucking tapped to that armbar. I don't know if you guys caught it. They like showed the replay. Her palm was open and she tapped. So she makes
it was on like the roll, right? The transition.
Yeah, it was on the transition. Like I think that if the ref stopped that and they reviewed it, they would have been fine with it. Oh yeah, open palm, she tapped, you know. And then on the other side, Mayra Bueno Silva, she's durable, super dangerous, especially on the mat, solid all around. She's a bit of a slow starter. And if I'm going to hit her with some weaknesses, she definitely proved in her last fight. She's just not a 5-round fighter. Pennington just kind of beat her up as the fight progressed. If Macy wrestles here, which she has fairly consistently over her past 6 fights or so, I think she's just playing with fire the entire time. And personally, I just think that Macy's going to be like uncomfortable the entire fight. She doesn't like being pressured. She can't be reliant on her takedowns because of the jiu-jitsu of Mayra Bueno Silva. And also recently, Bueno Silva has been wrestling more often. Macy has not fought a ton of grapplers and doesn't tend to do well when she's on like the defensive when she's off her back. And I think at some point this fight's gonna hit the mat, and then Bueno Silva is gonna leverage those long arms and find a submission eventually, probably an armbar. But I have to say it. One major point: if you look at Bueno Silva's Instagram, she does now have an OnlyFans. So if you're the type of bettor that takes those sort of things into consideration, then do with that information as you will. But me personally, I'm picking Bueno Silva to win. I think she finishes Macy Chiasson at some point. If you were to play Macy, I think the best way to do it would be like a decision only. I don't know what that's priced at, but I think MBS finishes her at some point in this fight.
Guru, what do you got?
Wow. Yeah, I mean it's tough to argue with a lot of those points because Macy Chiasson does make those mistakes on the mat that are very hard to overlook, especially against somebody in Mayra Bueno Silva who is so dangerous. I don't know. I kind of get concerned with her mental lapses in general. She's certainly much older in her career now as she's getting there. I mean, she's not super old per se, but she's much older than Macy Chiasson. I don't know. I thought Macy looked pretty good versus Penny Kianzad, but of course that is Penny Kianzad. It's a tough fight. If you got plus money on Macy, right? Like plus 150, plus 125. I mean, if you're getting solid plus money, I mean, that's solid value, and I totally understand that. But now sitting at Pick'em, it's just it's a tough. I kind of like the under, right? I think maybe just violence either way.
Yeah, but do you think that Macy can finish Mayra Bueno Silva?
No,
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
So the thought here, first of all, Guru, Macy's older by 1 month. They're both born in 91. Macy was born in July, Mayra in August, so there is no age discrepancy. There is a size discrepancy.
Why did I think she was like 29?
I don't know. It's because you have low T. It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
Jeez,
but regardless, I think that there was 2 ways that you can play this fight. It's Macy Chiasson. Her decision prop is now plus 165. If you got her money line before it crossed the minus territory, great job. You probably did what you needed to. But Mayra Bueno Silva, the submission prop at plus 310. I mean, that's how it's happening, right? I mean, she's not going 15 minutes and winning the decision, because if she's not getting that submission, she's probably being controlled and slowing down and getting frustrated. Or like Macy, the thing though that concerns me is that she does slow down. We've seen it in multiple third rounds, or even second rounds. And then she also is just not like a refined striker. So it's not like she's going to be using her reach advantage in the striking department to like a highly proficient status. She tries to work off the back foot and kind of counter, but that also makes her tire out because she's gigantic, cuts a ton of weight. And I mean, I just really don't love what you see. Like versus Aldana, like she loses round 1 and then comes out, puts out a huge front foot pressure, heavy takedown performance in round 2, comes out of round 3 and just looks spent. It's super close fight. She goes to get the takedown and land on top in the last 2.5 minutes, but liver kick city. And it's like, well, there's a reason why that kick affected her so much. And it's not because Aldana was just so good at it. It's like she cuts a ton of weight and she was super gassed. So I think Silva by submission plus 310 is going to be the way that I'll make sure I hedge out of my Macy play, because I caught her at plus 110. I thought, for her that she has all the decision equity in this fight, but at the same time, she has all the opportunity because she's going to fall sloppily forward into front choke attempts. She's going to go into a blast double, but then kind of give up her back in a scramble and nearly get armbarred. Like, it's a lot of different concerning things where. But
essentially, if Mayra, if she doesn't make those mistakes or Mayra's unable to capitalize on them, then she's probably gonna lose.
So I have plus money on the Macy money line and plus 310 on Mayra Bueno Silva's win condition. Like, why isn't that an okay way to play the fight?
I actually think the way that you say that makes a lot of sense.
And Macy Chiasson by decision right now is plus 175. So I think you take out the Bueno Silva side of things from like her. She's not getting finished. It hasn't happened before. She's so tough. If anyone was going to finish her, it's probably Manon Fiorot. But Macy, while she's aggressive, while she's tough, it's like she does it by kind of bullying people. And the way Silva just survives choke attempts, even when she's dead gassed against Rocky Pennington. I mean, Rocky Pennington's same choke attempts are the ones that are making Macy tap out. So I don't see Macy finishing Mayra, as Mr. McPix was saying. So, yeah, it's really tough for me to make a confident prediction on a side in this fight. But I think the way I'm playing it gives me a way to make money either way.
I love that. I think that's a great handicap, TB.
All right, and here we go again. Gonna pass it off. What's up, basement dwellers, dog? I just have the basement to do the show. We living in the house, baby. We living in the house. We out the house, Mr. Wise.
What?
I don't know. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you running up the comment section. You're doing a great thing. So we're going to go ahead. We got Ian, the future Machado Garry versus Michael Venom Page, MVP. What do you got going on, McTix? What's your breakdown of this
Jesus.
fight?
Really good matchmaking, but it makes it a tough fight to call. Both these guys are real tall for the division. Really, really good at distance management. I'm going to pick Ian Garry for a number of reasons. One, he's 10 years younger. Two, grappling. If there's going to be any, you got to favor Ian Garry to wrestle over MVP. And then also how much Ian Garry throws. There was a lot of volume. But it's tough to feel confident because there's a reason why a guy like MVP is 22-2, and one of those losses was a split decision to Logan Storley. But both these guys are marketable. Again, not to go down narrative road, I think the UFC would actually probably want MVP to win here because he's obviously much older. So it's kind of like now or never for him to make a run at the title. If Ian Garry loses, he's not a huge deal. He's 26 years old. He'll probably, be with the company for a while. But in the end, I'm going to go with Ian Garry. I like the hype on him. And like I said, bigger, more output. And if he wrestles, he might look like a big favorite in hindsight. So,
yeah, I think that's super interesting. I do lean Ian Garry as well, even though he's not necessarily going to be the faster guy, which I think is super interesting. And he's I believe he's at a reach disadvantage, right?
He's at a 5-inch.
The 5-inch reach disadvantage. So speed and reach in a striking fight could be fairly interesting. I just think that the output becomes a problem. And I think something that TB touched on, and he's going to enlighten all of you on, is another reason. I'm not going to steal your shit like you do to me, TB. But yeah, something that there's a tendency of Michael Page that I think is going to put him into a problem here. And it's not just his low output. So TB, what is that tendency?
Well, you're a true gentleman. So here's what I'll say is Michael Venom Page does a great job managing distance until he actually steps in to throw his strike. At that point, every single time he lands a 1-2, a strike, like where he's jumping in from distance, it's in the clinch. And then he's like, oh, I kind of rocked Kevin Holland, so I'm just going to go ahead and like trip him now after I don't think you're catching Garry as clean in some of those exchanges and diving in. And I think that's where Gary's going to be like, wow, wait a second. I can just grab onto this guy. And I think Gary's going to be the stronger fighter, a little bit thicker. And I think he's got a plethora of wrestling experience from his time on the regional and Cage Warriors. And also, he's been training with like DuBronx, Oliveira, and a bunch of other wrestling camps recently. So I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like there's got to be a little value on a small sprinkle on the submission. But I actually got a few units down on Garry here on the money line at -138 on Bet365 before it moved out a little further. And I feel like he's just going to cleanly win this fight because as much as we kind of make fun of Ian Machado Garry's like decision making outside the cage and how cringy he is in his interviews, like he does kind of have some solid fight IQ in that he's going to do what it takes to win the fight in the most efficient way possible for the most part. And I feel like once he realizes, okay, Page is totally available to be clinched every time he goes to throw a strike, that he's going to take advantage of that aspect. And maybe it doesn't ever really get down to the mat or a bunch of wrestling, but like Kevin Holland is on Michael Page's back and trying to get in a rear naked choke. Eventually, Page turns out able to kind of like avoid an arm triangle choke and use some butterflies from the half guard to transition out. But I mean, Kevin Holland, like, let's be serious about what he is as a top control guy. Like, it's not his game. So Garry, I think, is going to have a bit better jiu-jitsu and top control if the fight does get there. So that upside, along with his ability from distance as well. I don't love his defense, but Page isn't the guy that's going to be throwing in deep combinations to catch him with a strike he's not expecting. And I think Gary's going to be extra careful from distance in this matchup. So yeah, he's creative, trained everywhere, early at -125. Shout out to an upcoming guest of the show, Amber. She'll be on with us for the Denver card. Shake up happening over there. So yeah, Garry, trifecta. Looks like all three of the boys on that and have a hard time not seeing it. Yeah, and he could, but I think he's got multiple ways to win the fight, and I think he's going to use them when necessary. So because I was going into this wanting to play MVP, I thought the tape would take me there, but I really don't like his tendency to end up in the clinch. Even if it's offensive, I think it's going to get used against him. So, guys, please make sure if you haven't done so already, it would be really messed up if you hadn't thrown a like on the video and subscribe, but it's not too late to do the right thing. So don't be a jerk like that. Come on. We expect you to kind of be like, we're going to be like some of these old school referees, maybe a little Herb Dean action. Just smash the like. We're not going to look or stop the fight. Go ahead and do the right thing. So in this fight, Guru, you want to go ahead and tell the people how we do a proper intro for our guy Joe Pyfer?
How do we do that?
So last time,
what are you talking about?
Mr. Bodybags Pyfer, the last time that he fought against Jack Hermanson, they had Joe Martinez doing the announcing, and I had the pleasure of sitting next to Guru after Joe Martinez announced Joe Bodybags Pyfer. And Guru spent the next 5 rounds.
Was I drunk? I don't remember that.
And he goes, Bodybags Pyfer. Like, literally, and my older brother also came over to watch the fights at the house, and like, I literally almost smacked this guy. It was pretty terrible.
I was pretty sauced up because I don't remember that.
Body bags. Yeah.
I also don't remember you being that upset about it either. So
no, it was really annoying. I don't remember. We definitely kept yelling at you, but we also hopped on the Jack Hermanson live train, so we did the right thing there. All right. So, anyways, Mr. Body Bags, Joe Martinez. I hope he's not announcing for this card because it's pretty bad. So high
Body Bags.
That's exactly what he was doing. So Body Bags Pyfer versus Power Bar, Marc-Andre Barriault. And this fight's kind of disgusting. Let's be honest. Like Power Bar, he's kind of a guy where in the past I'd expect him to like get out on the front foot, heavy pressure, heavy pace, and get after it. But he's kind of taken on this new thing where he likes countering, playing off the back foot, trying to show off that it made improvements in his technical kickboxing. And if you're playing off the back foot versus body bags, then I don't like how this is going to play out for you. I think Barriault is going to need to keep Pyfer on the back foot himself and throw calf kicks. I don't think he does enough of that for me to really trust him. I think Pyfer is going to have definitely the power advantage, definitely the wrestling advantage, and being back in a 3-round fight, not on the main card, I think this is a setup spot for him to look good. So I'll take body bags, but I'm not going to take him at minus 290. I feel like there's no need to really do it. Now, could there be a disgusting parlay thrown out at some point because I need to have action on every fight? Sure. But as far as like fights that I'm going to be putting out like official plays on, I don't think this is one of them. I'm going to pick Joe.
Body bags.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like body bags by finish here. I think he's going to catch a body. You've seen Andrei Barriault caught by Njokawani for no reason. That shit was crazy. And then he got subbed by Hernandez in round 3. I think Pyfer's. I think he's live for either. I really do. I think the size and reach is going to be a factor for him. Power is legit. Yeah, this is his fight to lose. So
shopping bags.
Yeah. I mean, there's really shouldn't be anything that Andrei Barriault does that Pyfer should be like unable to handle. Like if you can't beat Marc-Andre Barriault, like you've got problems for your future here. So I think that's just the truth. What do you think, McPix?
Yeah, body bag. That's pretty catchy. I could see that. I would be if I was there. I'd be saying
body bags. Yo, you fit in on the show just perfectly.
What do you guys think about the Raul Rosas Jr.? I don't even know what to call it. Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
It's kind of like growing on me.
It's
catchy.
Right?
It's catchy, yeah. But
if anybody else did it though, it wouldn't fly. But because he's got like he literally he's so special. So yeah, it works.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's a good bounce back spot for Joey Pyfer. You know, he's younger, he's bigger, has more power, he's better grappler. And we've seen MAB, he's shown some grappling deficiencies in the past. And he really hasn't fought a lot of submission grapplers outside of Hernandez. Not loving the money line at minus 290. So I think a sneaky way to attack this fight would be like a Pyfer sub prop. You know, he's with those Renzo Gracie guys in Philly who are pretty sick with it on the mat. But I gotta look at the tape more into this one. But at face value, I would say Pyfer sub has piqued my interest.
Yeah, it's certainly. That's why I said finish, because I really do think he's live either way. But if you could give me a good number on that sub prop, I absolutely think he's live. And I think the thing that you highlight, which is awesome, that I maybe missed, is exactly that. Is that he hasn't necessarily fought a lot of sub grapplers, and he's shown a deficiency there. I mean, Joe Pyfer plus 550 by submission, while the knockouts plus 185, and you know everybody and their grandma's betting the knockout. So
Barriault's durable as shit. I mean, one person knocked him out, right? Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, yeah, sounds like a fun idea to me. Could be spicy. Nice call. Like we got Cub Ocean Spray Swanson versus Andrei Touchy Fili. He's like didn't he make like a mimic video of the guy listening to
I think he did, yeah. You could have told us what that dude's name is, like Dogface 420 or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah, whatever. Cub, he's riding on the skateboard, he's drinking Ocean Spray, he's vibing out to
I don't hate Ocean Spray, but what I do hate is how off-centered Andrei Fili and Touchy is from minus 240. I think it's giving me AIDS.
Yeah, it was a poor effort. Well, what I think here is I was tempted initially just based on like pure line and hunting for dogs. Oh baby. Oh god.
It was a poor effort.
Yeah, it was a poor effort. But plus 200, even as the line has gotten wider on Cub, after I kind of looked into it a little bit more, I just don't like it. I feel like even if this fight stays standing the whole time, Fili, he's going to have 3 inches of height, 4 inches of reach, and he's going to be the faster fighter at this stage. And Cub Swanson, he's fragile to the legs. He's fragile to the body. Now, what I do think is that while Fili's got a little bit of pop, he's not necessarily like the biggest finisher himself. And he's got some wrestling and top control that he could fall back on here if he's not feeling comfortable playing with Cub from distance. And not enough people really take Cub into this realm, but I mean, he's available to be had. And Fili's going to have a size advantage, athleticism advantage, I believe. And if he plays into that, then sure, he's covering the minus 245. But as a community, how much do we really trust Fili to do the right thing? So I'm not running out here to play his money line, but he will be my official pick. I think that fight goes the distance at plus money is where I end up because
It's
Cub
plus
is
money.
Dude, over 2.5 minus 120. That means fight
Makes
goes the
no
distance
sense.
plus
This fight
money.
going the distance might be one of the best bets on the card. Then that's fucking insane because
I really like
Andrei
it.
Fili's not finishing Cub Swanson in a crowd in his retirement fight. Cub Swanson's the fucking man.
Fili by decision at plus 200 and his knockouts plus 150. Give me the decision plus 200. And then just fight goes the distance itself. They actually might have dropped these lines now because they've updated in the last 2 hours with a few more methods for some of the top fights. So as we look at the props here, fight goes the distance is plus 110. I mean, like, come on. I feel like I need that.
Yeah, I love that a lot. This is like one of those stupid narrative things, but I mean, Andrei Fili has been alternating wins and losses like consistently since like 2017. I mean, he's never had more than 2 wins in a row, and he's never had back-to-back losses. Like, he's weird. Like, it's weird. He's going to get a win here. So, I think he's safe. I don't necessarily love it because when the fight's going the distance, you're not covering a minus 245 line. But Cubs basically cooked. Guys, how many retirements do you think we get? 303. Over under 1.5.
2.
So you're going over on
Me
2.
and Cub are both retiring.
Yeah. I think it might be 3. I think it could be 3.
Who else do you think?
It could be Waterson-Gomez.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe not, though.
I mean, if you're getting tapped by Gillian, I could see it, you know. Does
What else
touchy-feely do the right thing? It depends on who he's touching and feeling. So
He likes to
You're
touch
probably
and
right,
feel big booty Latinas.
That was hilarious, and I was going to say
Fucking
that.
so funny.
nice.
That was great.
What was
are
the
you
question?
Passionate?
What
are you
did they-
passionate? What are you passionate about other than like whatever Harley Davidson and fighting and whatever? And he's like, I just love big booty Latinas. I mean, look at his IG and look at his girlfriend. I mean,
What a genuine response.
Yeah. I mean, touchy-feely's the man, and so is Cub. This is a great fight. I just don't necessarily see a finish coming. I mean, you look at, Giga Chikadze is a specialist, so the body kick to ground and pound, I mean, crazy. And then, again, Martinez, specialist in leg kick, calf kicks. So, and otherwise, it's Hanada Moicano sub, Brian Ortega guillotine choke. Max Holloway guillotine choke. Max Holloway subbed him. Hilarious. Neck crank versus Frankie Edgar. Arm triangle choke versus Ricardo Lamas. Like, I don't see Fili busting out the sub here. And
Bust down.
yeah, unless you're Lucas Almeida, you're not getting put to sleep. So fight goes the distance is genius. I have no idea why it's lined like that.
Nice. Sweet.
I think
So
we
it
all
sounds like we agree on the side. Yeah, big time. Here we go. We're on to Charles Jourdain versus Jean-Lord Silva. He took over. Maybe that's why Mikhail Oleksiejczuk is now Hussar. Because how can you have the nickname Lord if Jean Silva has? You probably just have to give it up to the schizophrenic guy, right?
Oh, wow.
He says he's got a whole other personality, like an alter ego when he fights or whatever. Like that, is that not just schizophrenia or?
Wait, why is he schizophrenic?
Jean Silva.
Why is he
Gian
schizophrenic?
Silva? He's like, oh, it's not me when I fight, like, because he has or maybe it's multiple personality disorder.
I mean, maybe.
All right. Anyways, Charles Jourdain.
I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who's absolutely fucking crazy, you have to talk about Charles Jourdain. He's hilarious. He's fucking nuts. What do you mean?
Yeah, but like, he's funny. I don't think he's. I mean, his fight style can be crazy too.
He's complete. He is his fight style. He's fucking nuts. What do you mean?
Yeah, MBS consistently chopping up her opponents in the clinch, and when reporters, visit places, MBS, not ideal. So Charles Jourdain here, I just don't trust this guy. I know he's shown that he could fight, against guys that are willing to be finished here, and he can get into like fun striking matches, but it's generally against like the lower tier, like the Andrei Ewell types, like Shane Burgos. That was a war, but he also shows that he can kind of let things get away from him too. So Jean Silva here, I feel like he's got a touch bit more of athleticism. I think he's going to be the better counter striker and harder hitter. And I know he's a bit like crazy, as we've talked about, but at the same time, he's got a little bit of process, and we saw a little bit of that on Contender Series. And then the Weston Wilson fight, like he's happy to like play off the back foot and taunt this guy into the pocket. He just does whatever he wants with him. And that's kind of what made us all so confident about the whole like Jekka Seregi idea. But you got to give Gene Silva credit that like he was able to get out of the leg lock idea or stay away from the rolling scrambles of Wilson and finish the fight on his terms. And Charles Jourdain, I think the kicks are going to leave him open to counters, and that he's just not going to be as technical or powerful enough in this matchup to cleanly win it. So Silva, before he flipped over to basically even pricing, took a little bit on the plus money, but we are still talking about a guy with not too much experience and hasn't fought like the highest level of competition. So instead of this being like a Volkov level or a Volkan level of confidence like I had last week, it's a 1 unit shot for me. That's what I got happening.
Yeah, I like Gene Silva here. I just think he's a little bit more dangerous. Charles Jourdain's process seems a little broken. Like he's just, I don't like the whole. What was his game plan in the Woodson fight? Like I know it says split decision, but I don't know what they're smoking. Like he did not look great in that fight. He's trying to wrestle a guy that's fucking skyscraper. He's trying to jab from the outside the guy that has an arm a mile long. Like it's just weird fight styles. And I just think Gene Silva, like you said, TV has more power. I think he could be more live to grapple as well. I think he's also the one that's more live to like even win by. I think he could win by submission. I think he's dangerous. So I'm going with Gene Silva, but I mean, generally speaking, nobody finishes Jourdain. What's the fight to go the distance?
Like minus 120 around there.
Okay, I'll take it. I like that. So I'm in. What do you think, Mick?
Make it 3 for 3. I have a bet on Gene Silva plus money, plus 105 or something like that. I'm going to echo a lot of things that you guys said. Gene Silva is a weird guy, but he's a solid fighter. This guy is a dog in more ways than one. He fights like a dog. He's an actual underdog with the betting odds. I don't know if you guys saw him barking at the camera when in his post-fight interview with Bisping. Bisping was a perfect guy to interview him. He could just handle those type of guys,
Yeah.
He was.
I think Bisping's it's his level of tism. He just like doesn't.
Yeah,
it
he gets
doesn't
along
register.
with those type of dudes.
Yeah.
But back to Gene Silva. He's well-rounded, super durable fighter. A lot of finishing upside. I like the gym he's coming out of in Fighting Nerds. I just feel like since coming to the UFC, Charles Jourdain, he's been in the UFC for a while, but he hasn't really improved much. He's a durable fighter. He has good kickboxing, solid offensive ground game, but he's a defensive wrestling liability. And honestly, he can be beat at his own game. I mean, like you guys brought up the Sean Woodson fight. That's a striking fight. He's a striker, and he looked terrible. That's the fight he's looking for, a striking fight. So even though he gets the stylistic matchup that he's looking for, which is predominant striking, he still drops the ball multiple times in the past and lost. So, you got to say that Jourdain has clearly fought the better level of competition, but personally, I feel like Silva's legit. Something I love about Silva is his confidence and his forward pressure. And if a finish happens in this fight, I think it's going to be Silva getting the better of Jourdain, even though Jourdain's durable. I don't know. Something about this guy, Silva, I just think that you need like a brick to knock him out. If someone were to wrestle in this fight, I think it comes from the Silva side. I see a lot of people on Twitter, they're questioning the cardio of Silva. but I thought he looked great in the Contender Series fight. That was a high-paced fight. Went all 3 rounds, and he looked great in round 3. So, personally, I favor Silva to win this fight because he's more durable, has a higher finishing upside, and he has more wrestling in this fight. So, yeah, we're in agreement here.
What do you think about the fight going the distance as well? We like that play too?
Yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah.
I think it might
Get
get a
it,
little sweaty.
boys.
I think it might get a little sweaty, but who doesn't like a little sweat? You know, who doesn't like a little over sweat? I saw you guys in your post that half unit shot on all 4 or 5 fights go the distance.
Yes, sir.
Overstang, baby.
I
Let's go.
cooked that one on the pod last week. So
It was a pretty good job.
Ooh, that was a spontaneous cook right there.
we love that. I love that. I try to throw out one a week, just randomly, because just who doesn't love like a little $5 DeGen, what we call a grandma's couch cushion, right? You're digging between for the change. And grandma's couch cushions, like throw away.
Under
And
the
that was
car
basically, yeah, exactly. And that was basically one of them. I mean, I gave out on 302. I gave out a 8-leg plus 900 parlay. So I'm cooking them up.
That hit. Like,
that hit.
You didn't just give it out. It actually hit.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. I guess it was. That was
I,
I gave out a parlay. The odds were crazy.
And it hit.
and it hit. Okay.
Yeah. It hit.
But so actually, also the other funny part is not only those 5 going the distance, but we also had the overs in the Megamind fight over Ribeiro. We had over 1.5 there, and we also had over 1.5 in the Shara Bullet fight. So all over, baby.
I'm an overs guy myself. I'm a big, especially heavyweight, over 1.5, but I'm definitely more of an over guy than an under guy.
Love that.
I like the sweat. Who doesn't like the sweat?
Exactly. Oh my goodness! Talking about a sweat. Here we go.
Talking about overs. Let's go.
So yesterday, as I was doing these lines last night, over 1.5 in the Payton, the Terminator Talbott versus Yanis, the Desert Warrior Ghemmouri. Yes, the Terminator. T1000. Over 1.5 was priced at -135 on DraftKings, -125 on Bet365. As of today, we're looking at over 1.5 -220. The boys definitely got in for 3 units on -125 on Bet365 for the over 1.5. It was idiotic. We're staring at like the odds, and I texted Guru. I'm like, dude, like, I gotta watch some Yanis tape because just looking at Talbott's record, the guy has been in 8 career fights, and only 2 of them have been under 1.5. But all the finishes have come in the second round. So even when he's not going over 1.5, he's at least getting to round 2. And then I go and watch Ghemmouri, and I'm like, well, this guy, he's kind of like feints, switches stances, long distance, throws some calf kicks, head kicks. He doesn't have like the best defense overall, but he seems willing to take a shot. Unless it's a nut shot, in which case, if it's the end of round 3 and he's getting kicked in the nuts and told to keep fighting, that's where he'll give up a little bit. And that's why he has a round 3 knockout loss on his record to William Gomis. But it's not because he couldn't eat the counters down the middle from a guy with, Gomis also had like a 5, 6, 7-inch reach advantage, and fighting up at 145 where he had a last-minute opponent change where he's supposed to fight Kalen Loughran, and instead that week he switches to upper weight class versus going from a midget that only wrestles to a rangy, dedicated striker that can counter strike off the back foot. Yeah, it was a disaster waiting to happen. Now Payton Talbott, this guy's a chronic slow starter.
They do not like this guy at all, huh?
Who, Ghemmouri?
No. What the fuck? Yeah, by the way, it's fight week. I know you signed to fight this division and this fighter, but we're going to move you up a weight class, and we're going to make you fight who the fuck, and then now you're going to fight Payton Talbott. Enjoy fighting the Terminator. Like, that doesn't sound very nice.
Yeah, not ideal. So, but the over here, I thought it was at least worth it at the -130, -125 pricing that we got it at. Unfortunately, can't give that out to you now because it's -220. So how does this fight end up playing out? I tend to think that it's a Talbott round 3 or decision. I think Ghemmouri, his only other finish. So he's lost 2 times in his career. One was by submission in 2015. The other comes by round 3 nut shot and the replay official in France is like, yeah, like it hit his balls. And they're just like, by round 3 knockout, William Gomis. So I'm willing to take the chance here on the guy -1600. I feel like he's going to disappoint in some fashion. I don't think it's because he's going to lose the fight. I just think he's not going to get it done as quickly as people imagine here. So I was happy to take a shot on that, and let's see what we can make of it.
I don't think anybody's imagining it anymore. Like that fucking over is minus 220. We literally hit minus 125. I mean, that's fucking insane. So I think Payton Talbott takes his time. I think Yanis Ghemmouri is fairly tough. And I think we sail to the over. I think that's beautiful. So I think the problem is that they have this guy minus 1,600 because he shouldn't lose. But like when you price somebody at that level, generally in these types of, in this sport, you're like, okay, well, you expect to finish. Well, it might take a little bit of time. So I think, if you're not finishing Nick Aguirre till round 3, you're not finishing Junior Reyes Cortez. Like, what's happening here? So he might even just win a decision. So it'd be really funny, honestly, to watch him get a sub like round 1 and just be like, fuck everybody. But I wouldn't be super happy. We have 3 units on the over 1.5. So
what do you got, McPicks?
So I'm not trying to one up you guys, and I don't track these lines, but BetOnline opened the over 1.5 at plus 135.
Damn!
What?
Let's go!
Not only that, but DraftKings opened up Payton Talbott at minus 298.
Right.
So I threw $1,500 on him.
Holy smokes!
So now he's what? Minus. What is
the cash out there offering you? They must be offering you solid money back already.
So it's because it's minus 298. It's not. I'm not winning a lot, but it's 1,500 to win 2,000 essentially, and the cash out is 1,688. So I'm obviously gonna sit on that one.
That's
not
funny.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd wait on it. That makes sense. But yeah, those are the type of lines where it's like generational wealth,
Yeah, I just see them. I know they're gonna switch soon. Like they're gonna move soon. So some of them sometimes on DraftKings the line will sit there for a little bit.
Yeah.
BetOnline they move within 10 seconds. It's insane.
Right.
But on
we
DraftKings,
don't use BetOnline, but maybe we should. We don't use BetOnline, but maybe we should.
Yeah, I started using it this year or maybe less than a year ago, and I made a lot of money on it. But DraftKings, the lines tend to move a little more slowly, so sometimes I'll tip those lines out to I have a private Discord. Nice. But I don't ever post the openers just because it's not really accessible. But anyway, back to this fight. I'm with you guys on what you said. This guy Talbott, not much to say. He's a minus 600 favorite, but really just insane pace, cardio, durability, and output. It's insane. I do agree with you guys. He hasn't had a knockout in round 1 yet. He has a high finishing rate, but all of them in rounds 2 and round 3, right? What concerns me is if he comes out the way he came out last fight against Cameron Simon, that's kind of a concern to me. And also I saw he had a short interview on Ariel Helwani's podcast, and he posted he has a YouTube channel, and they're really weird videos he posts. And he was saying in one of his videos, he's basically he said that he knows his opponent is very passive and doesn't do much. And he's I'm going to bring the fight to him. So that's a little concerning to me too. Obviously you kind of take that with a grain of salt. You don't want to place a bet based on what fighters say in their interviews, but I'm with you guys. I think that he finishes him late, round 2 or round 3. But if he comes out the way he came out against Cameron Simon, it's going to be sweaty for sure because he was ultra aggressive.
Well, I'll also say Cameron Simon literally just runs face first into the pocket and also has zero defense. Ghemmouri, that's why I was well, I'm not going to jump on this until I do the tape. And Ghemmouri, he's also willing to clinch and try to cage push if he's getting frustrated. These are all things that I just love because, man, it's just you're telling me he's gonna feint, switch stances from distance. He's gonna try to bait him into the first strike. He's not giving up 6 inches of reach in this fight like he was against Gomez. And Talbott, while he's a great timing on his strikes, I feel like a lot of the stuff he does relies on his opponent being aggressive if he's gonna get him out early. So that's my hope is Ghemmouri, just do what you did on tape, buddy. Stay patient, please.
Right.
Yeah, shout out everyone on X. Come on. I know it's fun out there, but join us on YouTube. It's a great time. Please subscribe. It won't hurt you. Promise. Do the right thing. So we're moving on. We got the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson-Gomez versus Gillian, the Savage Robertson. Plus 154 on the veteran minus 185 on Jilly Bean. You know what's interesting?
This line has gotten crazy cooked. Like Gillian opens to minus like 300 or whatever, and
Crazy.
Waterson's gotten steamed, and I gotta be honest, I know Gillian's been kind of disappointing, and she certainly isn't the level of striker that Marina Rodriguez, Luana Pineo, or Amanda Lemos is, but it's just like I'm still not sure. I still don't get it per se. Does that make any sense? What do you think, Mick? Does that make sense?
Sorry, say that again.
I lost your train of thought there.
Like, okay, so Marina, like Gillian Robertson isn't the level of striker. Like, she's not gonna put the level of damage on. Like Marina Rodriguez busted her up. I mean, she's bloody as hell. Luana Pinea, even though she lands less strikes, she wins the fight because she lands such hard. She's just a heavy hitter. And then Amanda Lemos has got a ton of power and subs Waterson-Gomez. So my point is that like even though Gillian doesn't have the striking levels of her last, 2-3 opponents, like I'm not exactly sure why everybody's buying in on Waterson here.
Yeah, no, this was the first fight I looked into, and I'm like, all right, whenever I see Gillian Robertson as a big favorite, and her opponent has like pretty good takedown defense, I'm always questioning it because Robertson striking is just not that good, and if she can't get her grappling going, then she doesn't look good. Like I think back to like the JJ Aldridge fight, where she couldn't get her wrestling going, and JJ Aldridge does like all the fundamentals okay, and I think Gillian Robertson is making improvements. But no, I agree with you. It was the first fight I looked into because I thought I was going to have a bet on Michelle Waterson. But the thing is that Waterson, she has like her strikes aren't substantial. You know what I mean? They're like karate shit, like side kick. Like she punches the air a lot. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't really do anything of like substance. And she got absolutely destroyed her last time out. She's also, whatever it is, 9 or 10 years older than Gillian Robertson here. And I think Gillian Robertson's making improvements. And, her striking's not that good, but she's at least aggressive. You know what I mean? She marches forward. She throws a decent amount of volume. And I think this fight hits the mat. Waterson's going to be in trouble. Robertson, she moves well from position to position. She lands damaging strikes. She obviously threatens with a lot of submissions. So I see a lot of people picking Waterson. I get it. Maybe she can kind of skirt around the octagon and land kicks and kind of point fight to a decision, but I don't know. I don't see it. I think Robertson's going to get her down at some point. She's the one making improvements. She's a lot younger, and I got to go with Robertson here. But no, I see your point. I see your point with the striking.
I just think it's a huge liability. And then, like you even said, like, what does Waterson do? Like, she's using all these kicks, and her punches aren't even great per se. And I mean, if you're Robertson and you want to get this to the ground, like somebody throwing up a ton of high kicks is definitely going to help you do that. So yeah, I think she could just slip. She could throw a high kick and miss her footing,
or she can, or Robertson can catch the kick and she can trip.
Exactly.
A lot can happen.
So there's a lot of stuff there that I really just don't love. And I've been like, who doesn't love Karate Hottie? I mean, come on, like. And especially I took her versus Marina Rodriguez in her last fight. I thought she would have a grappling opportunity, and she did for a little bit, but she really just got beaten the piss out of. She just looks slow and old.
What happened there? Because their first fight went 5 rounds, and then just Marina Rodriguez just completely mauled her in the rematch.
I just think it's a steady decline for Waterson-Gomez. And somebody like Marina, who's just 35 and living in the trenches of Brazil, like, I mean, sure, she's getting older too, but she's just she just wants war. Like, Gomez is just not that type. And
living in the favelas in Brazil.
What's up?
I said living in the favelas in Brazil.
Exactly, with her girlfriend. Exactly. I mean, she's doing her thing. When you look at somebody like Gillian Robertson, who's got, I've got it written down. I mean, she's got 5 round 2 submissions, right? And I mean, she just loves to finish in round 2. I mean, you've got the round 2 finish versus Polyana as well. 1, 2. I mean, she just 3. I mean, she loves to finish in round 2. I'm taking a round 2 finish. I know that's like a crazy dart throw, but I just think that it's just when she's live. She just loves to do it there. I don't know why. It just takes a little bit of time to her to get her game going. People get a little bit sleepy, choked out. I think she's going to sub her.
Yeah, I think like Tabitha Ricci is so athletic and scrambly and much better stage of her career than someone like Gomez. And Robertson's even able to land one takedown there. She lands like 70-something strikes overall. So Ricci's just a little faster, a little better. Whereas I feel like, yeah, that could be a comparison for where you could potentially be on the Waterson-Gomez side. But ultimately, I just think if this fight does get down to the mat, which I projected to, is that Robertson is just going to have a dominant top control and pressure to her. Like she's going to have a bigger size differential than she did. Like Ricci is like stacked from a muscular perspective. Like Michelle could potentially be one of those fighters where like 105, if that was a real thing, could be an option for her. So I think Robertson's size advantage is definitely going to play into part here. Yeah, and I love that round prop idea too.
Yeah, I mean, of her 11 career finish wins, she's got 13 wins in her career, 11 finishes, 7 of them are in round 2.
So we made it, guys. It's a very sad day. TB Arlovski here reporting live from the podcast. It might be my retirement fight. It might.
I hope not. It'd be really funny if he didn't. He's like,
Wow.
fuck it, 5 more years.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like, listen, I can tell you from personal in octagon experience, things have just I felt slower in there more recently. I really don't like it when someone takes me down. But if you're gonna play pitter patter from range, I'm happy to get into a little bit of a.
I'm happy to steal a round 3.
Yeah.
Does Costa.
Yeah, you know, like, listen, it's all a good time, fun and games in the TB Arlovski lifestyle. But ultimately, like, if Buday is going to start clinch pushing and if he shoots a takedown, like, it could be insta-tap city. And I just don't think I want to be in there if Martin Big Tits Buday is laying on top of me. So, yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, it's going to be sad. I'll probably throw my gloves down in the middle of the cage in front of some fans here. But the contract is pretty nice. Like, the UFC pays me a lot of money to step in the cage. So it's one of those grandfather deals, not like these Contender Series bums. So we'll see what happens. But purple shorts.
Garry will be rocking purple shorts. He stole fucking Brendan Allen swag. And yeah, I mean, you're not going to lose in purple shorts, dog.
That's crazy. Fair enough. But yeah, Arlovski, he's probably just not going to win. Like, I could see Buday being primed for disappointment. I mean, look at his body form. But he should, like, Shamil, that was such an embarrassing loss, like, knowing what we know about Shamil at this stage. But, like, what would Arlovski have done in that point, you know? So,
nothing.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like the over. I like Fico in the distance.
I'll take a gift split decision. Double that win bonus, baby. Let's go.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I just think, I mean, Buday does have like some power and some level of urgency, which is definitely different than the, you know, sloppy like Cortez Acosta, Jake Collier, Vandera type shit. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, you're finishing Parisian and that's it. Like, I don't know. He does smash a little bit, but like he doesn't actually do it very well. So yeah, I like the over. I think Arlovski's gonna fight like it's his life depends on it here. So let's go.
I think the over hits if this fight, like, if this fight plays out on the feet. You know, I don't think Arlovski's knocking out Buday, and I don't think maybe Buday can knock out Arlovski, but it's just, if, like you said, if this fight hits the mat and big tits Buday, big boy Buday is on top, I mean, there could be trouble there for Arlovski. But Arlovski's the oldest fighter right now in the UFC, right? 45?
Yep.
Wow. Still doing the damn thing. But yeah, he's super technical still. You know, I think he actually has better movement. You know, Buday is like super lumbering, plodding. Arlovski just I think he's probably faster too. But he's 45 years old. Durability is always in question. And Buday actually has good heavy cardio for heavyweight. I don't know if you guys stalk the socials, but I looked on Buday's Instagram. He looks like he's in sick shape. I gotta say, he's training with Aspinall and some heavyweights. You know, it's obviously a really good heavyweight to train with, but he looks like significantly more slim, I thought, you know, compared to his previous fight. So obviously he's having a good, I would say he's working hard, having a good training camp. I think that if he strikes with Arlovski, it's going to be close. But if he does go for a takedown, or if he somehow gets Arlovski down, he'll probably get a finish, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
But he really hasn't been doing that. Like, he really hasn't been grappling too much. Let me see how many. I'm on UFC stats right now. Let me see how many takedowns he's been attempting.
5 weeks ago, he's posting him wrestling Aspinall BJJ, like you're saying, and he's wrestling with Tom Aspinall. He's got BJJ in his Instagram handle.
Right, but like in the UFC, he's landed 1 takedown so far, and it was against Josh Parisian, and he's had 1, 2, 3. He's had 6 fights. You know what I mean? So I don't know how reliant he is.
That's true.
But I mean, would we really be surprised if Arlovski wins a split decision here? You know, the dude just always finds a way to squeak one out, but. Personally, I think Buday is going to win. Like I said, he looks to be in great shape. He's younger, training with the right guys, and he's more durable at this stage in his career. So, Buday.
I think he might just make it in a not in this economy parlay.
He might. Mm-hmm. So basically, like, how could you play Martin Buday at -265 in this economy? But at the same time, if you have like 3 different fighters, like Andrei Fili for one, Martin Buday for another. Like, not in this economy would I play them, but maybe if I had it in a degenerate parlay. But those have also worked against us in the past. So we'll see. Not siding with Buday on Pitbull's potential less. Yeah, I mean, come on. Of course we're on Buday, and I like that little enunciation there. But
all right. So the real question. Fuck the UFC, right? The real question is: are you watching Paige Van Zandt on Power Slap on Friday?
No, because no. So you're telling me that Buday, like, due to his new form, he's not going to win by mother's milk this fight? Have you ever seen that one? There's like a guy out there that gets submitted by a guy just ramming his chest into his face, and he taps out to like, "My God, your milkers are just covering my airways."
That's awesome.
Jesus,
yeah, pretty great. I got to look up where I can find that because the video was just hilarious.
I wonder how Tapology categorizes that finish.
Submission and by mother's milk. Like, I'm serious.
Hilarious.
Seriously?
I'm looking it up now so I can tell you guys the actual.
Who was it? It was somebody recently, no?
It wasn't that long ago. Like, someone posted about this on like Twitter recently. I don't think it was like, you know, a high level fight by any means, but yeah, I mean, just saying. It's out there somewhere. I can't find it, though, unfortunately. So we'll keep on moving here. I'll see if I can find it on X to tag you guys in. Tsuruya, Ray of Sunshine, versus Carlitos Way, Carlos Hernandez. No, you love it. You're dying. I love it.
You know, you're making the best of what you got here.
Not too bad. I mean, look at that guy's haircut. He reminds me of Sunshine from fucking Remember the Titans also. He's very, you know, he's a guru's loving it. I did it.
No, that wasn't his hair in Remember the Titans.
It's long hair. It doesn't matter.
It's Ryan Gosling with blonde hair. Like, it looks nothing like Ray Tsuruya. The stupidest thing I've ever heard. The dude doesn't have a bowl cut in that movie. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even
he's just a ray of sunshine.
I don't even think he has bangs. Like, hilarious.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think he's got the Trevor Lawrence full part.
Yeah,
like
right.
You're like nowhere close. So
well, it was more for Ray of Sunshine than anything else.
Yeah, that was I get it a little.
Yeah, fair enough. I was trying to connect it to more things, but it didn't work.
You could have went with Rey Mysterio because he likes to be a wrestler.
God damn it! That's
I'm just better
fucking
than you.
Electric.
Where's Just Win, baby? He needs to hear that.
No. That's like the only time you've actually given me a
What do you
good
mean? I always give out better ones than you. Always.
You don't actually give out good nicknames. You just say that mine are terrible and you could do better.
And then I just literally off the cuff.
I said this is the only time you've done it. Okay. Carlitos. What's Carlitos' way to win here, though? Can you tell me?
fucking, I don't know, decisionate and like somehow no, like he doesn't really
Survival.
have one.
Survival. He has to gas this guy out and hope that he dies of cardio exhaustion and that he can take over late. Because, quite frankly, like Carlos, he might be an okay takedown defense, like okay scrambler, but he also gives up his back in these situations. And I could just see Ray with the backpack, whether it's finishing out with a rear naked or just kind of riding out top control to a decision, or like going for some crazy I'm trying to rip your head off choke. I mean, by God, if you watch his his last fight, right? Like Jin Yushai. I mean, oh my God, that was scary. Whereas then he has like a really super back and forth fight with Mr. Marky Mark from AKA. And that's where I'm like, damn, like when he faces a real wrestler or a guy with real process, it's going to be tough. But Carlito, man, like he's solid. He's like, okay, but I just don't think he's good enough to handle like the wrestling onslaught.
It's just the onslaught. It's exactly what you're saying. Like Hernandez is a fairly, like I like to use the word functional. Like he's actually a fairly functional flyweight. Like he's really not that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like Ray Tsuruya is a fucking is a phenom at what he does. He's very high level. He's very persistent, and he's just gonna keep going. And not for nothing though, it's not like he showed like this unbelievable. Like an unbelievably bad propensity to like suck. Like Alan Nascimento is a jiu-jitsu specialist and he's huge. So getting rear naked choke there round one is like excusable. And then if anybody remembers the Tatsu Taira fight, everybody thought he was gonna get grapple fucked, but he literally hits a switch and a scramble and he like defends some takedowns. Like he actually looks decent on the mat. It's just to start round two, Tsuruya got his fucking striking together and he absolutely cracks him with a left hook and knocks him out. He'd never been knocked out before. So I don't see Ray Tsuruya getting the knockout by any means. So I kind of like this fight going the distance. Like I just think that his sub defense isn't that terrible. So unless you're really that good, like, and I'm not sure that he's like this fantastic jiu-jitsu guy. Like he's a fantastic wrestler. So I kind of like the fight to go the distance, even though Tsuruya only has one decision.
You guys might be bigger over guys than me, and I'm a big over guy. Everything.
I mean, he could get the rear naked choke. Don't get me wrong. But.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel like Hernandez is pretty solid. Like he's a good like litmus test, like barometer to see where this guy Tsuruya, is that how you say it?
Tsuruya.
Did you guys see his last fight? He literally tried to decapitate his opponent.
Yes,
like crazy. It was hilarious.
Oh my God! Imagine how painful that must have been. But
he's got multiple herniated discs, I imagine.
Absolutely. What I noticed about Tsuruya is his body lock, like his legs must be super strong because when he takes guys back, like they try to turn into him to gain top control and they get stuck. Like, and I feel like he's gonna break someone's ribs with his legs. But yeah, he seems just like a phenom grappler. I know he has like an Olympic, some sort of Olympic background in wrestling, but that's just it. He definitely slowed down in that fight against Marky Mark, right? That you alluded to. And I think if I were to bet this fight, you can't lay the price on Tsuruya. If I would have bet this fight, I would go probably look at Hernandez live after round one. Yeah. But I don't know. I think this guy is pretty legit with his grappling. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he submitted Hernandez early on, but the numbers are kind of shit for his submission props. But yeah, it's a good test for him. Another good prospect out of Japan, really young. But I do think he passes this test, but it's one of those where you just want to kind of sit back and see how it plays out early on. I might be looking at Hernandez live, though.
It's willing to learn a little something.
I wrote Tsuruya round 3 decision. I thought that was an interesting thought. But yeah, I think you also make a good point. Like if Tsuruya isn't dominating or a struggle to dominate, or if he's just getting sleepy, Hernandez live could absolutely be interesting. If you're starting at plus 360, I'm sure with a little bit of wrestling, they'll be happy to give you plus 1,000 like in the first 2-3 minutes.
You get like a ridiculous number like that. I mean, it's worth taking the stab, especially because he did slow down and his striking. Hernandez is the better striker. You know what I mean? More experience, better level of competition. But and Tsuruya did slow down in that fight clearly. So I don't think it's a bad look. A live angle.
100%. I can't believe this next fight opens up the card, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah,
What a
great fight.
Pretty Ricky Simone, lock dog, Vinicius Oliveira.
Low.
I mean, what a
Low.
fire.
Pretty Ricky.
Could you be
That's a
any less
throwback.
OG? Could you be any more white?
That's a
What's
throwback.
up? Lock dog? It's low. Like, could you be any more what? Like, you have just like you've got zero drip. You've got no culture in you,
bro. I'm bilingual.
Yeah, it's plenty of drip. He just quoted Pretty Ricky. Come on.
No, and I said Simone, and I said Simone, not Simon.
So what?
I speak Mexican. I don't speak Brazilian. Okay, and I say that as a joke because it's Spanish and Portuguese. I actually speak Spanish.
I know.
Right?
We know. You're hilarious. It's low dog, not lock dog.
Suck some balls. He's not a lock dog of the week. Okay, that's not what I'm saying here. Maybe that's what people are thinking, but
Loke
Simone way. Yeah, Pretty Ricky. I got culture. Okay, Simone. Yeah, this is like the next stage of the Hawk 2 is the Simone. If you got that far.
No,
mine.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm just trying to upset the guru, so I'm doing a great job here. But basically, the way I handicap this fight is that Ricky Simone, he's landed 2+ takedowns against his last 8 opponents. And Mr. Oliveira, well, he's got some serious issues in that department. He's got decent scrambles, so I could see where Simone might have a tough time like holding him down early. But I don't see Simone having like the absolutely brutal gas out that Sopai had. Now, if this fight is taking place on the feet from distance, Oliveira has also shown a bit of a deficiency in the striking defense perspective. I mean, Sopai puts it on him early. He hurts him early. There's a reason why he's in top control and nearly finishing the fight. But ultimately, Oliveira weathers the storm, waits for the guy to cardio dump, hits a crazy switch on him, and he ends up just completely taking over and dominating the last 6.5 minutes until he decapitates him with a flying knee. So I feel like Ricky Simone here at -250. I mean, this has got to be a gigantic step down from 1 Mario Bautista and 2 Song Yadong. It's just in this economy, he's probably going to have to be parlayed to like 3 or 4 other people to want to lay like a $20 bet out. But I feel like the fight doesn't go the distance here. I know I've been saying over on a lot of fights. Oliveira's got really shit defense. He's been knocked out in all 3 of his losses. And if this fight gets to the mat, I could see him being ground and pounded or submitted. Ricky Simone's got crazy pressure and pace, and that could also lead to him eating a knee, eating a crazy counter kick, a check hook, ending up in the wrong spot and just having things not go his way. Like, I could see Ricky trying to push a pace and having things go against him here. So I do like the Ricky Simone potentially submission idea. But at the same time, Loke dog, all 3 of his losses are by knockout. So I'd rather just take fight doesn't go or under 2.5 here at pretty close to even money when I feel like violence is prescribed in this matchup.
It's just so tough to feel that way when we've just been getting no violence lately. But I mean, I feel like if anybody's going to give us some, it has to be Loke dog, right?
Yep. And I
mean by either kill or be killed. Like, not like, I mean, that's just how he fights.
If you like this guy, is he going to win a decision? Do we trust his output and that like Ricky can eat enough of his shots to be like getting hurt and make it there? Because that's what happens against Song and Mario.
This fight's so fucked because Ricky Simone is going to trust himself a little too much on the feet, and Vinicius can absolutely strike there. Problem is, of course, he's like 1 strike at a time, throwing kicks. Ricky Simone's going to love, trying to get takedowns off that. The problem with that is he struggles with top control. He struggles with damage. And Vinicius continues to work to his feet. And Simone could absolutely get tired. It's just a totally back and forth, crazy fight that I'm just like, I wouldn't be surprised either way. I wouldn't be surprised to see Simone win a boring fight, and they're like, see, Vinicius, this is what you get for calling out Umar Nurmagomedov. And I also wouldn't be surprised with blockhead Ricky Simone literally never improving from fight to fight, never changing his game, like just the same for fucking 5, 6, 7 years. He's just the same fighter. And I'm just not super sold. Certainly not at minus 250. And again, like I also don't necessarily like. I know Vinicius has been finished 3 times and all 3 of his losses by knockout. It's just like Ricky Simón would have to get ground and pound, in my opinion. I don't think he hits him on the feet and just ices him cold. Like I just don't see that. So tough fight, really tough fight. I don't mind anybody taking a dog shot, but not a fight that I'm looking to be overexposed on. What do you think, McPicks, for the final time tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's such a good fight that they lined up to open up the card. You know, both these guys. I think it's going to be all action because they both kind of forced the action. Both exciting for bantamweight. You guys brought up some of these points, but I think the pace, pressure, and just overall work rate in wrestling of Ricky will eventually break Oliveira. If you guys watch his Loke Dog's last fight against Sopai was dominating him for like a round and a half, and then he gassed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that won't happen with Ricky. Dude can go all day in regards to cardio. Don't like the takedown defense of a guy like Vinicius against a guy like Ricky Simon. But I do like the size and the power of Vinicius. You know, he kind of throws caution to the wind and just swing bombs. I actually do think that Ricky can catch him on the feet and knock him out. I saw 2 of Oliveira's knockout losses, and he got like slept. One time it wasn't even that big of a strike, and he just like lumped over. The other time he got hurt in the feet, and the guy finished him on the mat. So I think Ricky's like tenacious enough. If he hurts him, I think he could finish him on the mat. I was looking at like a fight ends by knockout, but TB brought up the submission for Ricky. That is a angle for him. So yeah, maybe an under in this fight. Honestly, I just think that Ricky's going to outwork him. He's going to set a high pace, and I didn't like the positions that Vinicius was allowing Sopai to put him in. He gave up mount really, really easily, and like I said, Ricky can be pretty like tenacious on the mat. So yeah, maybe like a violence angle for this one.
I don't hate the violence angle. TB's continued to try to talk me into it, and I feel like the only thing really keeping me off of it is just the general scaredness from these new gloves, which is like not really a thing. That's just kind of all
so counterintuitive. Like they're lighter gloves. You'd think that if they're lighter gloves, there'd be more knockouts, right? That's closer to bare knuckle, but I don't know. Who knows? I think it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're such a small sample size, and some of the matchups, like before the fight, I said over and over that Volkov has a clear path to winning a decision. Like, I'm not shocked. Yeah. Like, it's not a glove thing. It's that Sergey's a dumbass thing. Like, and he actually has a solid spin. Like, there's a lot of different fights like that where, like, I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with that. But I don't know. Talk to me again in a few months when
I don't hate it.
Still down, maybe I got to consider it.
I don't hate it. I just don't necessarily like. Is there really value there though? At minus 125, it's a bantamweight fight.
I'd say based on how they fight, based on the type of damage that Loke Dog creates and absorbs, that is likely to happen. And Ricky's going to bring a high pace and get into a car crash. Yeah.
All right.
I think Loke Dog is also like nearly a 145er when you look at his frame. I mean, the dude's gigantic. He's obviously on very nice supplements. And I could tell you that it was Sebastian Lopez versus Michael Lascifo on Durham Fight Series 1, Rise of the Phoenix, on June 3rd, 2023, that by round 1 submission at 4 minutes and 52 seconds by Mother's Milk.
I love it.
So
there it is.
You got to find the tape, though, and we need to watch it.
Yeah, I know. So if you type Mother's Milk on Twitter these days,
you're going to get a lot of different things.
Yeah, don't do it. You're looking at, some absolutely crazy stuff. So I had to.
Why would you type Mother's Milk into Twitter?
I thought maybe, I could find it if I type their names along with it too. No, it just doesn't. It doesn't work that way. So don't do what TB did. TB Arlovski making some mistakes out here in the field.
Why would you think the one inane submission would come up as opposed to
because it's hilarious? Well, no, I thought other stuff would come up, but I thought maybe media. You can find the video.
So you just kept scrolling. You're like, I watched the gay porno once. The guys never came, man. The guys never came. You remember? What's that from Eurotrip?
That's what popped.
The girls never came.
No, when you search that, it's all tits that pop up. So, but what you guys should do, it would be really messed up if you didn't already. But smash the like the same way that we're gonna smash that Mother's Milk. So, Ultimately, Mr. McPix, thank you so much for coming on and being like a fun member of the show, because plenty of people don't quite get the assignment, and like feel like you really embraced the conversation, also had a good time. So any final thoughts on your end before we pass this off to Guru to get us out of here?
No, not at all. Appreciate you guys having me on. It was a pleasure getting to know you guys and break down some fights. I'm always down. I love MMA, talking fights. So yeah, thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Of course, man. Our pleasure.
Brother, thanks so much for joining us. You were fantastic. It was great breaking it down with you. Likewise, great getting to know you, man. We'll be happy to have you on anytime in the future. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Fantastic show, big pay-per-view, big money to be made. Let's fucking get it. We're off next week, 4th of July. We come back for UFC Denver with a little switcheroo in your main event. So be sure to check us out and stay tuned, because we always got a lot of shit going on. Make sure you're following my unbelievable co-host, TV Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram Picket, Tapology, and Bet MMA. And if you're feeling like it, go follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA, Twitter Verdict, Instagram Picket, Tapology, and Bet MMA. We will be back next week. Stay safe out there. And you know what? I'll say it early. Happy Independence Day, guys. Yeah, we're good.